Our project Living Danube Limes is all about heritage. In our case, Roman heritage that spans the whole Danube region from Germany to the Black Sea, and a shared heritage unites all the project partner countries. Behind me, in Mautern in Austria, you see high-standing remains of a Roman tower dating to the late Roman period. As we go along the Danube, we find Roman remains like this, but we find a lot of Roman remains that are still below ground and have yet to be excavated.
The Danube is the second longest river in Europe and connects more countries and cultures than any other river on Earth. Each stretch of the river is unique and radiant with its own special attraction. From breathtaking landscapes to architectural remnants of a rich past, the river is home to cultural heritage sites of great significance, among them numerous Roman remains. Over several centuries, Roman soldiers built legionary camps, forts and watchtowers along the ancient river frontier of the Danube Limes.
In Roman times, it was an important water highway, not only separating the Roman Empire to the south of the Danube from the so-called barbarian countries to the north of the Danube, but also because it was important for trade, for shipping, connecting the Roman provinces from east to west as well. And that is why we also reconstructed a Roman river ship, which played a huge part in connecting the whole Danube region with our project.
The full-scale reconstruction of the Roman riverboat Danuvina Alagris took 24 months and 75 cubic meters of oak wood to complete. During the work, the team paid special attention to the experimental use of Roman craftsmanship. The replica is based on archaeological finds of late antique rowing boats, which were rooted in Gallo-Roman building tradition. These so-called lusoriae were robust, made entirely of oak and held together by iron nails.
Ein spätantikes Boot, 18 Meter lang, 6 Tonnen schwer.
The late antique boat is 18 meters long and 6 tons heavy. It is made of oak wood and all parts are handcrafted with tools from antiquity. For this, we have replicated antique tools based on archaeological finds.
Antikes Handwerkszeug nach Funden nachgebildet.
We have also used this approach to saw the planks over the entire length. And similarly, when we manufacture Roman shields, we forge the iron parts with a Roman field forge and respective traditional crafts.
Römischen Esse, einer Feldesse oder anderen analogen Materialien.
Along the Danube Limes, navigation on the river was of great strategic importance. Riverboats enabled fast transport of military forces and goods. Lusoria-type boats, such as the Danuvina Alagris, served as patrol boats and were efficient in the rapid deployment of troops in the river frontier areas. The connecting cruise of the Danuvina Alagris aimed to reenact a long river journey with the Roman Lusoria as authentically as possible, not only to create a unique living history experience for the public, but also to gather new scientific insights.
Roma! Eterna! Roma! Eterna! Danube! Alagris!
In summer 2022, the Danuvina Alagris set off on its adventurous journey on the Danube in Germany, with an average of 20 rowers and 1 captain on board. More than 200 people from all over the world had followed the public invitation to join the Living Danube Limes connecting cruise for 2 weeks each, rowing in any weather from mid-July to mid-October. The average speed differed a lot, reaching a maximum of 13 kilometers per hour, depending on the weather, the strength and direction of the wind, the current of the Danube, but also the rowers themselves, since the Danuvina Alagris was not built to be sailed, but to be rowed.
In Living Danube Limes, we had 4 central parts of our project. The first one was to identify the archaeological remains and characterize the Roman area along the Danube in a way that is accessible to everyone who's interested in the Roman past and that unites all the countries and all the research from Germany to Romania and the Black Sea, and not only focusing on one country.
This amphitheater here in Carnuntum was at Roman times the 4th largest amphitheater of the whole Roman Empire. And if you imagine these remains, and if you imagine how with modern technology all these remains can be digitized and can be made into virtual reality reconstructions, then this is a new step in the presentation of our Roman past. And in this amphitheater there was about 13,000 people when the gladiatorial games started here. And these 13,000 people, they came out from the town because the amphitheater was located outside of the town. And there was a big area, a big quarter of the town also outside where all the infrastructure was. And in this quarter, all this infrastructure is actually today invisible. And to make these things visible, we use ground-penetrating radar, we use magnetic measurements, and we combine this with 3D models that we do with special planes or with drones, where we see the topographic remains together with what is actually hidden underneath the surface.
The second part was to use this data, use the Roman heritage in a sustainable way, connect museums, visitor sites, archaeological sites all along the Danube to form kind of a chain of pearls. A string of pearls, but also highlighting that every museum, every visitor site, every archaeological site has its outstanding, unique selling point, and that not everything is the same along the Danube.
The main capitals on the Danube all have a Roman past, but also many smaller towns and villages boast impressive Roman remains.
We had also partners from the Slovak Technical University, Stuba, and they prepared a mobile application for all sites on the Danube within the frontiers of the Roman Empire, from Germany to Romania and Bulgaria. And they also prepared, together with the Ludwig Boltzmann Institute, virtual reconstruction of the pilot sites of every country. So in Slovakia, for instance, it was Iža. And Iža is interesting also now because it's the only Roman camp which is located on the left bank of the Danube, and it was the bridgehead of the Roman legionary camp in Brigetio, nowadays Hungary.
Through the application of modern, non-invasive archaeological prospection methods at selected pilot sites, various research gaps could be closed. Among the sites investigated was the Hungarian pilot site Százhalombatta, called Matrika in Roman times, where the fieldwork team of the Ludwig Boltzmann Institute conducted a ground-penetrating radar survey at the former Roman camp, the bath and the vicus. The digital data images revealed many previously unknown archaeological features of the site, such as hidden structures of Roman houses, courtyards, barracks and granaries.
Some of those archaeological sites which have been actually identified as project pilot sites, they lie in the absolute nature, so in the middle of nowhere, so to speak. And some others, they are situated in an urban area. Here in St. Johann we have a Roman watchtower, late Roman watchtower, or at least the remains of it. And those remains are included in the today's church here. And if you look through the glass, you can see the church in the background, and you can exactly see where those Roman remains are included in the modern structures.
The third point and third part of the project was protection. Protection of cultural heritage from natural disasters. Think about the Danube, think about Danube floods that become ever stronger due to climate change.
There is a lot of knowledge that has been done during these last 20 years in the field of protection of cultural heritage exposed to climate change, and we are in a very important moment during these years where all this knowledge can be absolutely useful and applied for setting up strategies for the protection of cultural heritage in a risk situation. And of course, there is also another very important thing to consider is the sharing of knowledge, sharing of expertise, looking at the past, for example, and what has been done in the past. And in this framework, the collaboration and activity among different partners in the programs of funding by the European Commission, like for example the Interreg Danube transnational program, are absolutely important. So in this way we can really collaborate each other in order to capitalize all the knowledge that has been achieved up to now and working together for putting forward strategies for protection and safeguarding.
But they are not only natural catastrophes, but also those made by human beings, like illicit excavations, which destroy archaeological sites and deprive the inhabitants and academia of the archaeological record and thus of the possibility to trace the past and tell the story of the Roman life along the Danube Limes.
Strategies for cultural heritage protection were developed spanning all partner countries from Germany to Romania. These strategies were oriented along the disaster management cycle. In the project, the focus was on the preparedness phase and the archaeological preservation of sites.
We realized, going to Sachidava, that the site is great because it doesn't have any kind of accessibility. And most of the time that site is completely inaccessible, therefore nobody's there. Therefore when you go there you find yourself in an original atmosphere. And for us that already started to become a scenario. And before we started any projects, we are thinking to make a strategy for landscape preservation, because actually also in other archaeological sites you might be tempted to restore the landscape, and that goes beyond the physical restoration of the fortress or the archaeological site. So that was the first step, and we thought in Romania we should preserve the landscape. Then the second part of our thoughts were focusing the fact that every building in this world actually belongs to the place where it is built. So the shape of the building, the features, even the materials, they are not casual, they belong to a place. And we thought that also an archaeological site can be understood in connection with the surroundings. So every place has a genius, and that genius reveals into a building, and without the site surrounding, the territory surrounding, that building loses a little bit of its spirit or of its soul. Therefore we thought that making a museum nearby and let the site breathe and continue its life as it lived for 2000 years.
And the fourth part, maybe the one that is most prominent in this project, is a part to reach out to the public, to reach out to the inhabitants of the Danube region and bring the Roman heritage directly to them, to live the Roman heritage, to actually link the Danube to the remains, the archaeological remains on land, but as most important part, link the Danube region with the project, the inhabitants with the project, and the project partner countries with our connecting cruise in 2022, when the ship traveled down from Germany to Romania in about 3 months and reached millions of people with the project itself, but also with the topics that we developed in the project.
During the connecting cruise, the Danovina Alacris traveled more than 2,200 kilometers on the river. On the way downstream, the ship's crew rode an average daily legs of 40 kilometers, stopping at the project pilot sites of each partner country, as well as many more places and historical sites along the Danube.
The Danube Limes, as a fluvial route that goes from Germany to Romania all along the Danube, has a great potential to become a new and extraordinary cultural route. Through the connecting cruise, Danube Limes become a very special space, a meeting point where people could meet. They had the chance to observe the Danube as it is, in its beauty, in its colorfulness and its all nature. They had the chance to learn about history, Roman heritage and local culture as well. These both really connected people. It made them move and it made them visible to each other. We all experienced a very warm welcome from the people on the shore, from the politicians and mayors who kind of fight for us to stop in their own places, for the people who wanted to show their living environment, their natural and historical background, their cities. They cooked for us, they brought presents for us, and it was really living. It was really something that made the people move. It made the people being active and enthusiastic and starting to organize things around their places. So it became like a topic to talk about, and that's what we are, I think, happy for.
Living Danube Limes has successfully connected the Danube region through the sustainable combination of cultural heritage management strategies and effective public outreach activities. As a result, the project has taken important steps towards an enhanced visibility and the long-term preservation of the shared Roman heritage along the Danube Limes.
The Roman heritage along the Danube is also on the best way to become a UNESCO World Heritage Site in its entirety. Since 2021, the Roman remains along the Danube in Germany, Austria and Slovakia are already UNESCO World Heritage, and all the countries following to the east, they are still working on it, and their sites are on the tentative list of the UNESCO.